Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Legends of Tabletop podcast. We're going to do something, I was going to say a little different, but it's not. We're playing a game, so it's kind of the same thing. But we're playing a game that Kurt put together. So I'm going to kick it over to Kurt and I'll let him give all the details on everything and we'll walk through everything.
Thank you, John. So tonight we're going to play a fun little game that I made up on my own. This is going to be one of a series of games that I'm going to eventually collect, but I'm going to release them individually as I make them. I don't know exactly what I'm going to call that collection. I think it's going to be like fantasy to play anytime or anywhere or something like that. It's going to be a series of games where you can either play it just as is, or you can kind of include it in your campaign if you're playing a campaign with friends. So this one is called If These Bones Could Talk. Here's the little, there it is right there. It's going to be the cover page for it. And in this game, it's a GM-less role-playing game where some of the players are playing adventurers and one player is playing a skeleton of a deceased adventurer. And in this game, someone in the adventuring group is going to make this skeleton come to life, and they're going to try to figure out what's going on with them. It's basically just I thought it'd be kind of a fun, like, what happened to this adventurer that's either on the toppest mountain in the cold dead or down in a dungeon, torn in twain, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's kind of what we'll be doing tonight. Jesse, yeah, thanks. Jesse is going to be playing the role of the skeleton. John, Kevin, and myself will be playing the role of the adventuring group. So before we get into the actual game itself, we ask some questions. So the first question, or the first series of questions, is for the skeleton, which Jesse is playing. Are you calling yourself Mr. Bones, or?
You know what? I think that is the name. All right. So that, yeah, for all intents and purposes, yes, that's at least that's the name that he is most familiar with at this point in his unlife.
Okay, sounds good. So since you are playing Mr. Bones, the unlife version of it, I'm going to ask you a few questions that I have written down from the game. You can answer them in any way you want. You can be as descriptive or you can be as not descriptive. You can leave out as much as you want, because then there will be us bringing you to life and trying to figure out more about you. So do you have any distinguishing details on you or around you?
Yes. So on the skull of Mr. Bones is carved a smile. So like it's like carved into the bone of like this big grinning smile.
Awesome. Are you wearing any clothes or jewelry besides that?
Yes, he has some probably brass bands on his wrists and his ankles that they're like pieces strung together.
Okay. Okay. So for the audience now, and just to kind of put some ideas into Jesse's head as far as what he might want to tell us and stuff like that, I came up with some other things like, would this being be a queen that betrayed their kingdom, a servant who found a magical item, an orc in a block of ice, those kind of things. So that's kind of some stuff to kind of think about when it comes to your personality and what you may want to tell us about how you lived or maybe how you died. Another thing too is, again, I'm trying not to go through every single thing, even though this is a short list of things, but I will just kind of hit some points. Like another thing you can kind of keep in mind, Jesse, is like, are your responses cryptic and short? Do you want the other adventurers to help avenge what happened to you? Are you an evildoer that, like, even in death wants to put the adventurers going down the wrong path? Those kind of things. Another thing I added too is, maybe in return, maybe you're one of these people that you're asking some of the questions, like, how did the elf get that scar on their head? Why are you wearing, 2 different colored boots? What's the deal with you, kind of thing, that kind of thing. So that's pretty much what you can want to kind of keep in mind when you're playing the role of the skeleton. As far as the adventuring party goes, it's basically kind of the same thing you would do when you make up your character for a role-playing game. You can talk about your personalities. You can talk about how everyone met. You can talk about who's in charge. You can talk about, eventually we'll have to talk about who's going to resurrect this skeleton for the time being, to kind of talk out what's going on with them. And then we can also pick out where we found this skeleton. So, like, we kind of talked about that whole thing, like where, he could have been here and he could have been there or whatever. Or if you're playing a they or a she, it's like, where exactly were they found, and that could kind of have something to do with it. So, as far as that goes, John and Kevin, is there any, like, did you come up with any distinguishing features, any of your personalities? I'll start with John. Is there anything that you came up with as far as your character?
Just a name and a race, I guess. He's a Dirtkeel Mountainborn. He's a squat dwarven fighter. Heavily armored. Big warhammer. Big 2-handed warhammer. Big beard. The whole dwarf, like classic dwarf.
Nice. Does your character have a name?
Dirtkeel Mountainborn.
Oh yeah, that's right. You said that. Sorry, that was a lot, so I didn't remember it. I apologize. All right, Kevin. What about you? What about your character?
So obviously, I'm I'm assuming it's gonna be magic that brings the skeleton to be able to speak with us. So I'll be a magic user. I'll be a wizard, and his name is Brar the Brilliantly Bright. He's kind of just a human with a blue robe and a backpack. He's got a lot of pockets in his robe for, scrolls and books and writing utensils. It always looks like he has like a sneer on his face. He doesn't look like he's the most friendly of people. And he is always just on the lookout for kind of knowledge. And obviously he's a wizard, so he's always trying to find new spells, new scrolls, any kind of knowledge, magical, arcane knowledge, things like that. He's not a very pleasant person. He only cares about finding these kind of magic things.
Nice. That's awesome. My character that I will be playing is an orc called Lucky. He is a 7'1" tall orc that's kind of got like a beer gut, but also kind of skinny and tall. Actually a very good fighter at all. He has one of those super big like hammers that's really tall, and every time he tries to use it, like most of the time he can't really do anything with it. He doesn't really, he's one of those guys that always wants to destroy things and doesn't do that much, but every once in a while he'll get lucky.
So the characters you and John picked kind of fit perfectly in for how I wanted my character to interact with you two. So this works out good.
Oh, that's perfect. John, that's a good idea. Can you put your name into the chat too, just so I can remember, because I won't remember because I'm terrible with those things. Sorry for for the typing for a little bit. Okay. So, another thing. Oh, you guys are all changing your names on here. Okay. All right. Let's do that then. Let's change names here. Yep. Edit name. Yep. I mean, I'm pretty sure people could. That's like I have like the easiest one besides Mr. Bones. But okay. So before we get into it all, I'm just gonna ask. I'm gonna ask John and Kevin again. Is there anything else we want to talk about as far as our party go? Do we want to talk about how we met? Do we want to talk about is one of us like famous?
I kind of feel like the way Kevin is doing his character, that like he hired us. Like we're the muscle, right? Like
Nice.
he's off doing wizard stuff, and he's like, man, I don't want to get stabbed by some asshole in a bar. Hey, you guys, come here.
Nice. I like that. That's perfect.
And good.
And Kevin Brar, you said that he's like not very easy to get along with. So are you basically just do the thing and I don't really care, as long I'm paying you to do this thing?
Yeah, so I think so if we're out walking somewhere, we're adventuring, but we're obviously you guys would be in the front, he would just trail behind, not really speak to you guys. So I my assumption is the two of you get along quite well and there's a rapport just because you have this dickhead with you and he's not really adding anything to it other than just paying you guys. So he kind of trails behind, following you wherever we go, kind of just talking to himself. He's probably reading and scribbling and things like that. So I think John's point about me hiring you, that works out good. So yeah, it's just okay, these guys are just meat bags to to get me through wherever we're going, and that's kind of the way he interacts with you guys.
And are we in like a twin situation where like we're Danny DeVito and
were you gonna dwarf
Arnold, right?
I just thought 7 foot tall orc and a dwarf.
Like
I just thought of Puma the whole time. Okay, perfect. So before we get into resurrecting Mr. Bones and getting his information, I will have, if unfortunately, of course, being the guy that's running this, I don't have a D20. I think D20 is what I said, or D10. So what we're gonna actually, if anybody has a D10, we're gonna roll that D10 and we're gonna add a 10 to that, and whatever.
19.
Nice. All right. So that means that we're gonna have 19 minutes to ask all the questions that we can to see how Mr. Bones either lived or died. So I'm gonna put that on.
So the goal is to just find out information about what happened to the skeleton. That's the play, right?
Well, that's up to you. Like there's different ways you can play it. So you can either ask him how he died. You could ask him certain things about why are you here? That kind of thing.
Okay. So it's open-ended. There isn't kind of a goal we're trying to get to, right?
There isn't. It's more of just trying to get information and just the conversation of getting to know someone that you haven't before, basically. Okay. It's almost like meeting somebody for the first time, except for they're dead and they're going to only be there for some time and then they're going to go off somewhere else. And it actually sounds pretty perfect now that I say that out loud.
It's like speed dating.
Yes, exactly. Except for this is going to be less painful.
So did we say, I don't think we said where we're at right now or where we find the skeleton or anything, right?
We did not. So that's something we can definitely talk about. So
do we want to develop that as where are we walking? What's Brar up to? Like, are we, heading to some other wizard's castle, or is he in search of some old forgotten tome.
Yeah, real quick. So I
You're
don't
dead,
care
be quiet.
where he's found. I don't care where he's found, but can I have input as to how he's found? Like how he appears when he's found?
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like that's a good way to do it. And then that's one of the things I wanted with this game is to be able to for everyone to kind of work together to come up with different things. And it's not just one person doing one thing. It's not a GM saying, "Hey, this is what's going to happen. This is where we're going."
Mhm.
It's kind of like everybody kind of helps develop this scenario basically. So where do you want to reveal that now or when we decide
No,
where we found it?
I'll let twins here. I'll let the three of you explore and talk, and then just when you come upon the skeleton, I have an idea for
Okay.
how that
Perfect.
is.
Okay.
But wherever you three stumble upon him, or wherever you're trying to purposely locate him, I don't know, but
He's in the latrine.
that's
Now that's going to be a fun story. All right, Kevin, what do you think?
So I would say that we're on the way to somewhere. We're not coming back from a job.
Mm-hmm.
We're going somewhere to. So I've just hired you guys. So we're heading out. Let's say it's just like some abandoned farmhouse. Do we want it? So abandoned farmhouse kind of on the edge of a forest. So it's not in the forest, but it's kind of on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
It's an abandoned forest or an abandoned farmhouse.
Looks like a woodsman shack or something like that.
Yeah, so it's like right on the
old
edge.
German, dark, huge forest.
Yeah, so it's not in the forest. It's kind of on the edge, and there's the, it has some of the forest is cleared out for like a vegetable patch and things like that. An old animal pen. So it's not like a woodsman shack, but it's kind of close to that. So yeah, we're heading out there. I've told you guys that I'm out looking for arcane knowledge. So anything you see that has writing on it, and Brar will say, my assumption is neither of you can read anyway, so it's not going to be useful for you. So anything with scribbles on it, I get. If you find anything else, whether it's weapons or armor or jewels or gold, I don't really care. You guys can have that. But anything that looks like a book or a scroll or anything that has writing on it is what I keep on top of whatever I'm paying you. You guys get to keep all the other stuff.
Nice, not bad, right? he keeps the papers and we get all the shinies, yeah?
That's fine by me. I don't want books anyway. Books are stupid. Books are for stupid people.
Right. Look at him, right?
I know. All he does is he looks for books. And where has it gotten him? Not very far.
He got him that pointy hat, though.
He does have that pointy hat. And you know what? I bet you it's under there. It's a pointy head. Sniff.
He elbows you, but like it's your thigh.
Yeah.
Ooh,
High five.
tickles.
Yeah. So, hey, Brar. He turns around. You could have gotten us a horse, I got to walk twice as far as you.
So Brar looks up from, he probably has a scroll unraveled, and he's reading it, and he kind of looks over to where Dirkhill says that about the horse, and he looks from Dirkhill to Lucky and kind of back and forth. And so I don't think there's any kind of horse dealer that would be able to match up a pair to fit you two. Maybe if you find any shinies, you can go buy your own horse, but just keep your head forward and make sure nothing jumps out at us.
I
One
thought you were
time-
going to suggest that Durkee will ride Lucky.
I was thinking it.
One time someone made me ride a donkey. I killed it.
Well,
So did you kill you killed it by riding it, or did you killed it?
Look at this.
And then he turns his,
No, I
he
snapped
turns
its neck
around
and
to
then
show
ate
you
it
his
for
like
lunch.
butt cheeks. He's like,
Guess what happened?
So then Broad just shakes his head and starts mumbling and puts the scroll up in front of his face to kind of try to block, and then he turns his head sideways to make sure it's covering both of them, and he just keeps walking. So making sure Lucky and Dirk are all covered up by the him reading, and so out of sight, out of mind for the moment, and just you can hear him mumbling to himself about dum-dums and paying them too much, and at least they'll amuse each other and leave me alone while he's walking.
so while you're mumbling, Durkeel just says, like, loud enough for you to hear. He's like, "You think you could use the magic to buy us to just summon us a horse, right? Eh? And he like looks up up at Lucky.
Or you could get me a donkey. Do the ass summoning. Ha 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 ha.
But
You'd kill it though.
I,
what is the magic field for creation? I forget what it's called. So no, Brar would just shout, the two of you shut up. I'm not that much of a necromancer, so I don't want to have to kill you if you keep annoying me. And I can't create things, but you can go buy your own donkey for whatever. And then, he kind of stops for a minute and goes, didn't you say you killed the other donkey? Why do you want another one?
I said it for humor, Brar. See, ass summoning. It's funny, right? Brar. It almost sounds like rar, like you're a lion, rar.
And then Brar looks over, and Lucky still hasn't pulled up his breeches, so his butt's still hanging out, and he kind of shakes his head and puts the scroll back up in front of his face and keeps walking.
Somebody got up on the wrong side of the straw this morning.
Maybe his wife left him for a donkey.
Dark.
Lucky can't think of any other jokes other than donkey jokes right now.
Donkey and ass
He's trying to
jokes.
figure out something else to burn him with, and he's like, "Oh, I've got his donkey."
The Brar shouts, "Yeah, no wife. People are annoying, whether they're human people or whatever you two are. Family distracts you from knowledge and learning things. Something you two should probably take to heart. Keep yourself by yourself and try to learn things. It makes you a better whatever you two are. Maybe you could learn some better jokes." And then he just harumphs and starts walking a bit faster.
Lucky looks to Durkeel and he's like,
Bar's not very nice, is he? He's mean and ugly.
he kind of laughs. He says, "Well, he is mean. I mean, he's not my type, so I suppose he could be ugly. Maybe that's why his wife left him, huh?"
"Yep, I would rather have donkey." That's funny, right? All right, moving on.
Yeah. But best not to go down that road.
Yeah, we should probably try to find
Scroll or book for ugly.
I just imagine Lucky is now he's in an amateur stand-up comedian career track, and
He's multi-class.
right, yeah. And so moving on is his transitional material. That's how he moves from one joke to the next. So moving on.
Yeah. He doesn't read or write, but every time he goes on stage, he pulls out a scroll like he's reading it, One time
he's
I
a
went to
prop
bar
comic.
with Brar. He's pointy man.
His notes for all his jokes are just pictures.
It's all donkeys.
It's all donkeys. Yeah.
This donkey have mustache. This donkey have long hair.
So when Darkhill looks back and says about maybe that's why his wife left him, Brar pulls down his pointy hat a bit further down over his ears, and it comes down further, like on his eyebrow level, and then you see him kind of wave one of his hands, and there's just some like stuff that spins around like his head, and he's casting a cone of silence over his ears so he can't do anything.
And I imagine they're huge, bushy eyebrows too, right? Like there's a cat.
So they're sticking up.
So he says, I don't know that we're gonna find any books out here. Looks around, it's just like trees. It's just,
Yeah.
we could cut down the trees and make some, eh? I mean, we couldn't do it, but I mean he could probably do it.
Once my uncle told me he went in forest and found magazines by tree that were very sexy in nature. And he wondered why someone would leave them there.
So Brar shouts, "Good Lord, this spell didn't work. Would you two hurry up? Let's get to this farmhouse. I can't take it anymore."
I thought you had cone of silence.
You distracted me.
You
the
hear
verbal
what
piece
you
of my
want
spell
to hear,
failed.
eh, Briar?
The verbal piece of my spell failed because you two kept nattering on. Let's hurry up and get to this stupid house.
I told you it takes me twice as long to walk. And he does his hands on his, fingers on his hands like he makes a walking motion. I'm short. I know it.
Lucky says,
Okay, Dirkel. You pretend you me, and I pretend I'm donkey.
and then he flips you up on his shoulder.
Oh! You just like grab him, and throw him up there.
Exactly. There's no waiting. It's just gone. You're just up there.
I could see for miles up here.
Can you say book or scroll or house?
And he puts his hands up like he's shading his eye. Nope, just more trees.
So right before Darkhill got thrown up on Lucky's shoulder, Brar just started moving faster and just starts running to try to get ahead of him, to try to get away, get to the house.
Fast walking.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing a power walk like you see everybody in the mall before it opens. So he's doing a power walk, still looking at the scroll, trying to move him a bit forward. So now I'm assuming with Darkhill on Lucky, they're catching up and passing him again. And just Brar keeps saying, it's over to the left. It should be right up there. And he just keeps pointing and trying to run a bit faster.
I think that Lucky actually does one of those things where he catches up and then he slows back down to make Brar feel better, and then he gets a little bit further and then he slows back down again.
When you start speeding up, Dirkhill just yells, "Giddy up!"
Dirkhill, do you feel wind in your hair? Do you feel more alive?
I do.
This is what it feels like to be orc. Not that it's bad to be dwarf.
Well, I tell you, I can't see very far, and it takes me a long time to get where I'm going. But I could get used to this. Maybe we could make a little sling, a little backpack, maybe.
Yes, or maybe I can get jacket and I could sling it around, and you could be the head and I could be the body, and we could pull pranks.
I love it.
We
Master
could be
Blaster.
We could be dwarf / orc. We could be dork.
Yes.
9.5 foot tall dork.
Sounds like my life, except for a little shorter.
So all of a sudden, Brar goes, "Oh, thank goodness, the farmhouse is right there. Would you two hurry up and let's get there?"
He can't wait for this part to be over.
I
That door
imagine
part-
that like
it
Brar
really
runs
killed me.
in and just slams the door behind himself. So we're like outside, like, wait, what?
Well, yeah. So let's get up. If we're getting close to the farmhouse, so Jesse, is there anything? Do you want to be inside or outside?
Inside.
Okay, inside. I would
And I'm
say
assuming
you-
this is like an abandoned farmhouse,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
That's-
exactly. Yeah. It's run down, so that I said there's a vegetable plot, but it's all grown over. There's, the part where there was like a pen for animals and it's all fallen down and everything. It's an abandoned. I would say that Brar wouldn't go run into the house and shut the door because that's why he hired you guys. In case there was someone in there. So he's kind of standing near the door, just kind of like a kid bouncing. Hurry up, go look, hurry up, get in there. And just trying to get you guys into the door to make sure that there's nothing creepy crawly in there that would jump out at Brar. So he's waiting for you guys, two guys, to get in.
All right, maybe you should put me down.
Until you walked into the door.
Exactly. I was trying to decide either I forget and walk and he falls off, or I get on my hands and knees like a donkey and then he rides on my back and then I'm moving.
No, I imagine Dirk is like, okay, maybe you should put me in that boom, and he falls.
No, wait.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Oh, sorry, Dirk Owl. I tried to duck, but I miss.
He's like laying on his back like a fucking turtle now because he's got all the armor and shit on.
He actually
give me a hand.
Yep, he actually picks you up like super easy, like someone one-handing a doll and like puts you on your feet.
That's a stout wall for a beaten down old house.
I hear dwarves had hard heads, but you did not make dent.
And he's just like bonk, 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 knocks on his helmet.
And then he goes,
should I go in first or after you?
He like looks around, just shrugs, like, you go high, I go low. Oh, I totally lost the accent. I don't know what happened.
Is that Lucky? Lucky 2.0?
He's busy.
You are becoming brother. We are talking like each other. We are married now. Common now, married.
We're like twins, yeah?
Yeah, we are.
And then he kicks the door open.
Nice. And like, and it's funny because we're all kind of like, I feel like we're all kind of like, we're both kind of like really silly and bullshit. But then as soon as you kick the door down, it's like all of a sudden like the music kicks in. It's like
it's game time.
And like you walk in and we're both are slow motion, like don't fuck with us, that kind of thing as we walk in.
Yeah, like I'm already low to the ground, so like shoulder roll out to the right, comes up hammer in both hands, and you just kind of like step through, whatever the hell you're carrying, just like consuming the whole door frame.
Yeah, I kind of do like an NBA player boxing out. I put my arms out to the side, like waiting. And then it cuts, like the music like cuts straight, and then like all you hear is like wind, and like there's nothing going on in there, like
There's a cricket.
Like, yeah.
Durkel, do you see scroll or a book? I don't see very much here.
Yeah, let me pull back this curtain here. And he, like sidles over and like it's shredded, right? Like it's all like falling apart. So he goes to pull
like
it,
shredded canvas,
and it just like crumbles on top of him. So he's just like covered in like shredded, dusty old curtain. But some of the light comes in from from outside and reveals like maybe a couple of maybe like a bookcase, like an old wooden farmhouse table. There's like two chairs, one of them's kicked over. There's like an old pot-bellied stove with like a rusty pot and like the doors hanging off. Like it's clear that it's been empty for a long time, and no one's either it's been ransacked a little bit or it's just in complete disrepair. But like, maybe there's a smattering of books, because clearly Brar wanted to come here, so he was expecting to find something.
So Brar's head will be peeking into the door, and as soon as you touch the curtain, it falls to pieces. If he sees the bookcase there, he'll shout, "Don't either of you touch any of those books. I don't want your thumb to wear off on the books and ruin all the words. So just don't put your paws on it."
And then he pulls that little handkerchief, holds it over his face so he doesn't breathe in all of the dust.
And Lucky kind of looks around at everything, is really like taking it in. And he's like, oh, this place has good bones. And then he looks to the camera and winks. Of the game. Thank you.
Nice. Dirk, he'll just like starts, he'll open the cabinet. Like he's just kind of like throwing stuff around. He looking like, because we get all the good stuff, right? Like books, whatever. So like he's looking for gold. He's looking for, little, any like little figurines or so, stuff we could sell maybe,
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So it's just, it's like a one floor.
Probably like one
farmhouse.
room, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just one big room. So while you guys are looking, and then Brar sees the bookshelf, and then obviously it looks like Dirk Heel and Lucky, as you said, you get anything that's not books or papers or whatever.
Crash.
Exactly. It's a really small thing. So, so Brar and Jesse, just tell me if this, I don't want to, step on what you want to do. So I was just going to say, so Brar will see the two of them kind of smashing around, and he'll say, out the back, they're, I think all the shiny stuff's in the ground out back. So there's like a door out the back. So go out that door, and right outside the door, just start digging in the ground. I think it's all out there. Brar's trying to get them out so that it doesn't smash up and everything else. Go start digging in the yard. I think it's all out in the back.
Dirk Hill looks at you kind of suspiciously, like he's got a pot in his hand. And he looks, kind of cocks his head. He throws it over his shoulder. Says, outside. Out there?
Out the back. Through that back door. Just open the back door, take 2 steps, and just start digging. It should be there. So Brar's just trying to get him out of the house.
So he looks up at Lucky and he says, he was right about the books. What do you think? We go dig a hole?
One time, someone tell a story about buried treasure, and I think buried treasure sound good. And then I hear of Davy Jones' locker, and I think there may be locker out there for us to find.
So you mean like a locker, like a chest? You put a lot of gold in a chest.
There's always gold in chest.
And then Brar said, there's always chest buried in backyard. So go out and start digging.
Dirk Hill's convinced. He goes over, opens up the back door, looks around. Yeah. Starts looking around for like an old shovel that's still sitting out there or whatever. You can't dig with a warhammer.
Yeah. Lucky just uses his hands because his hands are like, huge meat pockets.
We'll say as soon as Dirk Hill steps out the back, there is probably about 20 or so feet back behind the house is like a big cleared area, like not even like cut down or anything, like down to the dirt, like big circular area with these small like 2-foot standing stones encircling it.
Hey, X marks the spot, eh? He was right. He's the smart one.
So the stories are true.
Looks like.
After you, kind sir. And he like does this like bow and like puts his arm out.
And he's like, boom, and he runs into the center.
I am assuming neither of you read either, so I'm not going to bother doing any of that.
Save that for Brar.
Right.
So Brar will hear them excited and because he was just expecting he was getting them out in the backyard just to dig a hole.
Right, yeah.
So they seem a bit too excited for just going to dig a hole. So he'll walk away from the bookcase, the bookshelf, and kind of look out the back and see them running to. I'm assuming, is it a circle of stones or there's just a couple?
There's probably like a dozen or so stones,
okay.
like that circle the area.
Okay, so then Brar will see that and kind of start walking out while Darkhill and Lucky are. I'm assuming Darkhill's legs are going really fast, and then Lucky's got like the big lumbering, so he'll follow them out and follow them towards the circle of stones.
Wait, not there. Wait, no, go. It was out front. Right? Just, you guys go out front.
Well, so in Brar's mind, if there's a circle of stones, that usually means something. So he'll let the two of them go first in case something gets tripped by this circle of stones. So he'll say, okay, well, the worst they can do is crash into one of the stones, and I'm not carrying any stones back, so whatever. He'll let them keep going and just follow behind them.
All right, Jed, so do we see Mr. Bones laying outside? Do you have a setup for?
I don't. I changed my mind. So everything that I went from the beginning, it doesn't count anymore. Okay. So it's going to be completely different. So you do. So yeah, it's just the cleared ground down to the dirt. Even it's like slightly impressed a little bit.
Like in a depression.
Does it look burnt at all?
Yes. No.
Okay. Are there any other? I mean, I don't know that Darkhill would notice. So there's how big across is this circular area? Did you say 20 feet?
I don't know. How big is it?
I thought you said like 20 feet, right? At the beginning?
Sure. Did I? All right.
I think so. Or 20 feet back. I don't remember.
20 feet back. I don't know. You tell me how big it is.
I don't know.
20 feet?
30 feet?
Sure.
20 feet.
20 feet? Okay.
20 feet from the back of the house, and then 20 feet. Depression with stones around it.
Yeah.
Is there anything on the stones? You kind of let that slip. Is there writing on the stones?
So Brar actually is wise enough to check that, I suppose. Yeah, there's in like various languages and sigils and stuff like that. There's
don't cross the stones.
Basically, yeah. It's like hexes and warnings and like and like suppression spells and like all this, and basically like do not enter, like you are doomed if you do, like all this kind of stuff.
So right before Darkhill and Lucky break the plane, I'm assuming like the stones are in a circle around it. Right before they break the plane, Brar will scream, "Stop! There's no shinies in there." And then
I assumed Darkhill was already in.
Oh, in? Okay. Okay, well then I'll still shout, "Stop." Darkhill's already in the middle, and Lucky's got a shovel and he's getting ready to put down. But I'll stop. I'll yell. Yeah, so I'll yell that, but obviously it's a bit too late. But I'll run up to where the stones are and kind of look at them and see if they've melted or got exploded or anything yet.
You told us that the shinies was out here and we found it. Now you want us to stop? You reneging on the deal, are you?
You can have whatever shinies we find, but it would be better if you were alive to have the shinies, right? You don't want to be...
What's that supposed to mean? You threatening us now? We get you all the way out here. Now you want to do us in, huh? You want us to dig up the shiny so you could take them?
No, I think he put down stones to mark our grave.
So I back up and I very slowly pull the warhammer off my back.
So then Brar, he's got his staff and then he holds it. He's got the staff in one hand. He's like, no, that's not at all. There's, and then he'll point to the stones. There's warnings on these stones. saying to be careful, to stay away. That's all kinds of threats on there. I was just looking out for you two. I was just trying to make sure nothing happened so you could get the shinies. All the books are back there. I'm happy I got those. I'm trying to look out for you so you guys can get some stuff. So I just wanted to make sure. And then, he'll see that they've crossed the stones and they're still there. And he'll kind of, he'll poke at one of the stones, see if it moves. And then he'll, put his staff across the plane between the stones, see if anything happens, wave it up and down. And if nothing happens, he'll say, look, I'll even come help you guys dig, right? I'll come help because I got my stuff in there, but we'll come back in and I'll help you. And then I'll kind of step and try to break the plane between the stones into the circle.
I don't know. What do you say? You trust him?
I don't. It's hard to tell. It could say warnings. It could say here lie Lucky and Durkel.
How would I dig a grave, set up stones with both your names on it when I just hired you and we had to spend half a day getting here? It doesn't make any sense. Think.
It could be what's that movie with Tom Cruise where he keeps reliving the same day over and over again? It could be one of those situations where they go to the thing, they die, and then Brar time travels back to the day before, gets Durkel and Lucky again, brings them back. There's like 20 of their bodies buried in here.
We'll find out real quick as soon as we start digging.
There's only
that was a
two
good
of
idea.
us.
I wish I thought about that.
There's only two of us, and there's more than two stones, so I don't think it's graves.
This is true. I don't know math very well, but your math seems sound.
He's just like holding up like 7-8 fingers, right? Like
all his fingers.
There's that many, and then there's this many of us.
That's true. How he pay for us if we dead?
Well, so then Durkel kind of like pokes Lucky, says, "How you feel? You all right?" He's just like poking you in the gut.
Lucky's like, I feel a little bloated, but otherwise well.
And then Brar say, I'm standing in the middle with you guys. So start digging. If you want to find your stuff, start digging. And then Brar will go back and look at some of the stones again to see if they say anything else other than just like wards and warnings and stuff like that.
So I put the hammer down and I'm digging, but I'm kind of like watching Brar too. So he's digging real slow.
Yeah, Lucky will just use his hands and just use them as one big shovel and just start throwing stuff off to the side.
So are we going to uncover Mr. Bones, or is Mr. Bones like in the area?
No, you'll uncover Mr. Bones.
Okay. I didn't want to cut you off if you're like, oh, and by the way, yeah, my bones are like right. They're like right there, guys.
So while the two of them are digging,
we'll say it's an incredibly shallow grave.
Gotcha. Okay.
So while Lucky and Durkel are digging, Brar will pull out some paper and like do some, rubbings on the stone. Put the paper up and get some charcoal and do the rubbings and stuff like that.
And I guess after a couple of minutes, if it's shallow, it's like chunk. Hey, I think I found the shinies. And then he gets down with Lucky and starts using his hands and like pulling dirt away.
Nice.
And then I assume it's like an overhead shot of the two of them, right? Like kind of head to head, pulling dirt. And then, like Lucky's hands come apart. And as the dirt pulls away, it's just the empty sockets of a skull, like top half of the face, right? And like Durkel kind of like jumps back, That's not a shiny.
But maybe what's in pockets may be shiny. Should we look for more?
I don't know if he's gonna have any pockets. He's just and kind of like, just moves his hand in front of his face. Hey, Brar. There's well, it's not shinies. There's something else. If you want to take a look. And he kind of like steps away from the skeleton.
So Brawl kind of turn around and look over. And then when he sees, he kind of sees the skeleton there, he'll kind of run over and say, okay, both of you get back. Dirkhill, you stand there, and Lucky, you stand there. So, so the where you were taking, you're just on either side of, the hole that you dug. Stand still, be quiet, no talking, just stand there for a minute, and then he'll, once
pull
they're
out
standing
a brush
there,
and a little shovel and a trowel.
he'll see where they're standing, and he'll go into the dirt and draw a circle around each of them, where they're standing, and say, don't step out of this, it's very important. We have to figure out what's going on here. So don't step outside the circle. And then he'll step back almost, so the point. So there's like a triangle that the three of them make around where the skeleton is. And then Brar will stand there and then crouch down and draw a circle around himself and then stand up. And then he'll look to, Dirkhill and Lucky and each of them and point at him and said, remember, don't move and no talking until I tell you from now. And then, got it? Oh, wait, no, got it. Yeah, wait, no talking. Understand? And then he'll point to Dirkhill. No talking, no moving, right?
Yeah.
And then point to Lucky, right? No moving, no talking.
Lucky puts his hand over his mouth.
It's all covered with dirt and everything. And then, okay, from now. And then, he'll stand up, he'll get back up from his crouch in his circle, and then he'll start casting he's not going to raise the dead. Speak with the dead. He's going to cast a speak with the dead spell.
Sweet. So from that point on, then, I'm just breaking the action. I'm actually going to start the timer, and then however Mr. Bones wants to come alive, react to what's going on, you decide from there how to go, and then we'll just interact.
Yep.
All right. Here we go. Go ahead.
Okay. So then Brar finishes his spell. He does all kinds of mumbo jumbo. And then he just says to the skeleton, is this your farmhouse?
And there's kind of like a wind through the like a gentle breeze that blows, and the voice almost like carries on the breeze itself, and so it says, yes.
Lucky looks right to Dirkhill, and then looks to Brar, and then looks to the skeleton, and it's like,
Lucky don't like this no more. Lucky would like to go home.
I think the ground is lava. You can't leave the circle.
It's like we are one mind, Dirkhill, because I was going to ask if I can leave circle too, but I am scared to.
Don't leave the circle. You'll break the spell. If you want shinies, now's your chance to find out if there are any shinies here. But don't step out of the circle, and we'll keep pointing back to each of them with each word. Don't step out of the circle. The spell will break.
Hey, are there any shinies here?
What is shinies?
You got any coins? Any gems? Jewels?
Treasure.
Yeah.
I was a farmer. There is no gems here.
And he just like staggers at Brar.
Yeah, so Brar's not too happy with that answer because obviously he's got the books back there, so he's quite happy that he's got what he wants. So he'll look to the farmer. He'll ask, if you are a farmer that lived out here, do you have any weapons or armor around? And he'll kind of look to Lucky and Dirk. He'll kind of like, see, I'm looking out for you guys. Weapons and armor, not just shot. And do you have stabby things or smashy things for these two?
I kept a spear to fend off the wild boars.
To fend off the what?
Wild boars.
Wild boars.
Wow. Now I know why this guy died. He used only spear for boar. You need more for boar. That sounds like a shirt.
Hey, maybe you could work that into your act, yeah?
No, that breaks the strict donkey material.
Now he starts drawing boars now.
He squats down in the dirt.
Maybe that'll be his second special. First special donkey, second special boar.
I hope I'm not a boar. Ha, ha, ha.
So I've asked a couple questions. Dirkio asked a question, right? So Brar's getting a bit anxious because obviously Dirkio wasn't too happy. Brar tried to assuage him with other stuff, and all I got told was there was a stupid spear. So he's kind of tugging on his collar and saying, "Lucky, why don't you ask him something? What would you like? See if he has anything for you. Why don't you ask him? Yeah. See, guys, you can join in too. We're a team, right? The three of us. We're three. We're a team." ask the skeleton if he has anything for you.
So, skeleton and ground. Besides farming, is there anything exciting about your life? Because right now I'm very disappointed in what's happening so far with your life.
My life was simple. I lived alone, and I tilled my field.
Brar's starting to get a bit antsy now.
I have something if you're not, or go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead first. So, so Brar's looking back and forth between Dirkio and Lucky. He's a wizard, so he ain't going to be outrunning either of them, no matter how short Dirkio's legs is. So he's starting to get a bit worried. But he's antsy and nervous. But he's going to ask something. But then obviously Dirkio breaks in first. He shoots Brar a dirty look whenever the farmer says he's boring and didn't live an exciting life, which means no treasure or anything. So yeah, go ahead, Dirkio. Go ahead and ask him a question.
So he says, "Hey, so if everything was so boring, what happened to you? How did you wind up back here?"
I was murdered.
Oh, that's a bad lot.
Things just got more interesting.
Yeah, so Brar hears murder, and then Lucky saying, "Wow, things got interesting," and he'll start panicking, saying, "Well, if you're just like a farmer with nothing around here, why are you in the middle of this circle of stones? What's so important? Why are there all these stones around you with all these warnings?"
The village thought they needed protection.
From you.
All three of us say, "What from you? What protection?"
They thought I was dangerous.
Why did they think you were dangerous? And while he says that, Brar kind of surreptitiously as he can takes his staff and draws another circle behind the circle he was standing in, and takes a step back into that circle. So he hasn't broken the circle, but he's drawn a circle further back from. He takes a step back into that circle.
We all make choices.
I don't really like the sound of this. Are you sure we can't leave these circles?
Brar's like, nope, draws another circle.
Exactly.
Look at yeah. So
Hey,
when
you get over there.
when Brar stepped into the circle he drew in the back, he then kind of, he can't stick his foot out and break the circle. I was going to say he kind of covers, he tries to brush out the circle he drew first, so they don't realize he's drawing more circles. The circle. So then Brar pulls out a map that he had. Obviously, there's a map of leading to this place in the farmhouse. And he'll say, "Are those your books in there? If you're just a farmer, you have quite an extensive array of books that I wouldn't expect you to have."
They were from a former existence.
Your former existence?
It is a life I made amends for and left behind.
Hey, is there any reward for catching the guy that killed you? He's trying to salvage something out of it. This is not what he expected, but I don't know, maybe we can still make some money.
No need for amends. They have been dealt with.
So obviously, Lucky and Dirk Hill are probably getting a bit antsy, right? So they haven't seen any return on investment on their time.
I mean, you are paying us.
Well, yeah.
I don't know if it's worth what's going to happen eventually here, but
Well, yeah, there is that point, right? So Brar will, look over to Lucky and kind of, go, why don't you ask him something? Ask him if there's anything you want. He said he had a different life. Ask him if he saved anything from that other life. It might be buried somewhere.
Wait, skeleton man. I just thought of something. Is there something from this previous life that you speak of where there might be something profitable?
You say profitable, Dirkhill nods like, oh, that's a good word for you.
and like after he sees you like doing that, he kind of like does the same thing, and he's kind of like, "Why are you doing?" Oh, I did.
And they both start doing the money thing, right? Profitable.
My one possession has no price.
So are we allowed
What the fuck
to know
is
how
that
much time?
supposed to mean?
Are we allowed to know? Are we allowed to know how much time's left?
I would guess
do-
not, right?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually turned my phone down, so I wouldn't even know.
Okay. I didn't know if that was part. Okay. So not to waste any more
I should
time.
include it actually, and I think I probably will.
Yeah, just say don't. You're not supposed to know. Okay, cool. Then
So yeah, when Dirkhill says that, he'll say, "It was my life's work."
Is it here? Is it in the farmhouse?
It is with me. See, I told you, Dirkhill. We look and we find the shiny.
So like his eyes, like his head slowly turns to look at the partially uncovered corpse. I don't know, mate. That's I mean, we found him. Do we want to dig him up the rest of the way?
I would wait until I dismiss my spell. He might not be happy if you start digging. Oh, I'm saying it out loud. He probably can hear. And I'll shake his head. Brar shake his head and say, I'm just too distracted. Skeleton, your life's work. Would we be able to utilize it?
I would appreciate it. Me no like those words.
But he is giving us permission to dig him up, though.
Do I want to dispel the speak with dead?
I think he could hear you.
Well, yeah, so Brar speaking out loud, right? So he's like, should I dispel the speak with the dead? Because as you two know, once you cross the circles, the spell breaks. And he just said his life's work's there and he would appreciate us taking it. So
I have a question.
For the skeleton or for me?
I'm looking at skeleton, Brar. You should know this. Skeleton. If I were to,
I'm a $20,000 skeleton that costs $500 a month in additional subscription fees.
if we find this possession that is your precious, would we know how to use it? The one with the pointy hat may. Yes.
Oh, then that's fucking bullshit.
However, knowledge is not a requirement.
Oh, yeah, we don't have any of that.
Possession is 9/10 of the law.
See, now he's speaking my language.
See, I was gonna clap my hands and say, "All right, gentlemen, let's get going when he said I could do it. And then he said, it doesn't have to be. And he went, oh.
Yeah.
So
Lucky looks at
stuff.
Durcal and like gives him like turns very slowly to him and gives him a like a look like, we don't need this other guy. Kind of look.
So Brar will see that look and he'll put his hands up and say, look, I told you guys, we made a deal. The books in the back, that's kind of what I was looking for. Depending on what's here, if it can be utilized by you guys, that's fine. If we can all take part in it, we can come up with a fair division. But the books, that's what I was looking for, the books. So don't think I was
let him fool you.
I so want to break the ring.
He wants it all for himself.
Hey, we didn't even ask a question, and he's telling us stuff about you now.
We had a deal. We shook.
Very interesting. Game, no game, apparently.
Well, I will say this, Lucky. He only gave us half the dough. So, I mean, we do have to get him back to get the rest.
Yes. See, this is what I'm saying. Thank you, Darkeel. And I said I'm quite happy for you guys to whatever's there. It's fine. It's fine. Especially it's 2-on-1. You know, I thought this would be a democracy, but obviously you two outvoted me. The books. That's all I want. You have my word. Books. That's what I want.
What you say is verbal contract, so I will take that as so.
Darkeel just looks like, what did you say?
He's an independent contractor. He's got to know like labor law, right?
Lucky is very good. It's very lucky at bringing some smart things to the table every once in a while.
Nothing on those shelves is as valuable.
Nope, that's it.
As my possession.
Nope, stop talking.
Nothing on the shelves is as valuable as, and then it just stops.
Yep.
And they're all leaning
light goes
forward.
out, the wind dies down.
Yeah.
Eerie stillness pervades the clearing.
Light shines a little bit more.
It's a little raven.
And Brar's eyes are darting back and forth between Lucky and Darkeel.
I guess that's good for you, because I was going to ask him if he was telling the truth.
Who, me? I was telling. We had a deal. I told you. You got the books. That's what I want. Books. So what? Books, scrolls, all that kind of stuff. If these stones were more manageable to take back, I take them back too, because they've got writings and stuff on them. But yeah, deal's a deal, especially when it's the three of us out in the middle of nowhere and you two staring at me like that. A deal is a deal.
I've got idea.
And already a half a hole in the ground.
Darkeel, I saw nice sturdy chair back at house. Maybe we tie Brar to it with his special books.
I don't know. Maybe. Well, like I said, he's got to pay us the rest when we get back. We could always kill him then. And then he's like, "Oh fuck! I said that. There's my outside voice."
You said the quiet part out loud.
So then Brar will say, "Look, any relationship is built on trust. I trust you guys. We have a deal. I'm just going to go back and take a look at those books. You can keep digging. We can stay as late as you want. Go ahead and dig, see what's there. I'm going to go look at the books. But like I said, trust. Contract, binding, as Lucky said. There was no codices on the end. You got half now. I'll pay you the half when we get back. But trust." And he'll do thumbs up and he'll start walking backwards towards the door.
Doing the bob backwards.
Yeah. With the thumbs up the whole time. Trust.
I think Lucky will like face him and like kind of protect you and be like, he'll say like with his back to you or whatever. It says, "If you want, you dig. I protect."
All right, that works for me. Then he, gets down and, slowly starts with his hands pulling the dirt away, looking for something that sticks out.
When Brar goes in, there's a window next to the bookshelf, and you hear some rattling and him stuffing stuff into a bag. But each time you hear like something come off the shelf, you see Brar's head peek out the window, go back, put a book in, then he peeks his head out the window again, see what you guys are doing.
Every time you look, Lucky's a little bit closer to the back door.
Yeah.
Did he? No. So what do I find, Jesse?
Yeah. So so we'll say the like soil on top of the farmer is like kind of dark, almost like ashy, right? And then when you like unveil the rest of the corpse, there's like deteriorated farmer's clothes, like whatever fabric like cotton is left, but then wrapped like laid on top of the corpse is like a rectangular shaped object wrapped up in like a hide, like a thin, almost like a vellum type hide.
Okay. Yeah, so he I got something here. He's got something wrapped up. And he, takes out a dagger and, if it's got twine or jute or whatever on it, he cuts it, slowly unfolds all the pieces of the wrapping to see what it is.
It's a book.
So he opens up, his son of a bitch. Hey, and he wraps it back up and he's like, hey, Lucky, don't tell him. It's a fucking book.
And he like rolls his eyes about as much as you could roll your eyes. And he's like, adventuring is sucky.
Hey, but look, like, so he gets up and he like brushes himself off and he like, sticks it in I don't know if he's got a backpack or sticks it under his arm or whatever. And he says, hey, when we get back, there's that other guy with the pointy hat in town. Maybe we could sell this to him.
Ooh, then we get more shiny.
Yeah.
And then Brar sticks his head out the window, obviously missing all this, and he'll say, you know what? I think I have a good feeling. I think this is the beginning of a great partnership. I think we'll go far, the three of us together. And then he'll give another thumbs up out the window.
Like Durkill just kind of like puts his hands up and kind of like waves.
Yeah, sure.
Yep. And Lucky is just kind of like,
Is that where we end it?
I think that's a good spot to end it for sure. So one of the things that I kind of wrote at the end is kind of just to talk about how it went. Is there something that we feel like we didn't do? Is there, are there more questions to be asked? I mean, we can just kind of quickly go by them or whatever. Is there something? Go ahead.
As I said, before we do that, even before we talk about like game stuff, Jesse's Mr. Bones was fantastic because not only did he have the voice, but it was only like half of his head the whole time in the fucking screen.
Yeah,
I loved every minute of it.
Microphone.
It was amazing. I loved every second of Mr. Bones. Okay,
awesome.
go do what you want now.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Oh, I think this is about talking about what what went wrong and what went right and some of the fun stuff. Like that's basically what I kind of wrote about.
I think the one thing maybe to highlight is that you don't know how much time's left. You're not supposed to know how much time's left, right? Because if you're saying like a spellcaster brings the skeleton up to talk to, you want to make sure people don't game that, right? How much time do I have left? How many, that kind of thing. So maybe say, make sure the players don't know, like you said, set the alarm, put the phone down, something like that, so you don't know. I think that would be the only thing, because if you know, then there's different plot points, or you can go off in different ways if you kind of know.
Let's hit these key things.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. So make it as in, because to me that felt like it was like an hour. I'm like, 20 minutes isn't that long, but when you're going through it, it felt a lot longer than would we have 19 minutes?
19 minutes.
It felt a lot longer than 19 minutes. And that's towards the end. I'm like, okay, what do I want to say? What do I want to do? How do we want to play this? Because I don't know how much time's left. So I think that's cool to do that. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I wanted to keep it to at least 10. So I was like, roll a D10 plus 10.
10 plus 10 is good.
Yeah. So it's like,
I think
at least you have a little bit of leeway.
So we did 19 minutes, right? And that's pretty much, I think that's a good way to do it. I think if you do 20 minutes, I think that's not that that's an upper limit, right? Because this game is great because the four of us know each other, and we could have been doing this till the cows come home, right?
2 more hours.
Right.
But I think if you go longer than 20 minutes, then maybe you might be kind of pushing it, because I think having that delineated, you have to get it in that time, adds a bit of pressure to it and adds to the gameplay. You don't want to go too long. So I think that 10 plus 10 actually works really good. D10 plus 10. I think that's a good way to do it.
Yeah. And plus there's some other things that we're talking about too, before and after. It's like, we got to know everybody, and we got to know the skeleton, and then we decided, the little things like, what about the skeleton? What about our party? Like that still adds quite a bit to it. Yeah. So instead of being 19 minutes, it's 19 plus, right now we've been live for an hour and 20 minutes. So like, again, like you said, Kevin, like if it's us and we don't have a time limit, we could have been doing this for 4 hours, that kind of thing. So,
well, it's like go ahead.
Well, I should say that the actual core of the gameplay, the talking to the skeleton, I think that's a good number. That 10 plus 10 works out really good. So
yeah, definitely.
Right. I was going to say that, if somebody in the group can't make it, right? And so instead of canceling a whole session, you could do this, reasonably in an hour, or, if you dicked around like we do and, set up all relationships and, just had these, long walk through a dungeon or whatever it is, right? Like you could do this for 2 hours or whatever with your friends, but like you could reasonably do it in an hour and everybody feels like, fuck, we didn't get to play tonight, right? Like you got to do, some role playing stuff that, there's no prep involved. There's no GM involved. It's 2 pages, I think, 1 page.
Yeah.
And it was, if you, your group, then you've got a good experience. And like, even when we started, Jesse had a whole plan. I guess maybe he thought we were going into a dungeon, and then it was like, oh, that's all out the window. They're going to a farmhouse. Fuck.
But I think
honestly, from my perspective, it was that. So I didn't have like a whole plan, but I had like an idea. And that definitely like it wasn't even so much like the farmhouse. Like even when it was like farmhouse, yeah, sure, I can still play with this. Like I can still kind of shoehorn that idea in there. When Kevin actually said that he found the bookshelf, that's when I was like, that whole idea is gone, and now like there's another idea that I have, and so that's when everything was like, nope, never mind, going over here.
Yeah.
So right, I think go ahead.
I was just gonna say it was like a yes and, right? So like his whole character concept was, we're going to this place because there's books, right? Or presumably there's books,
right? Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, then there's probably books there, right? Otherwise, like but I guess there could have not been, right? And then it just been, oh, there's no books, but there's this dead guy. What the fuck is this all about?
And I like,
So the I was gonna have Mr. Bones, like know where like books were. He was like the waypoint of like Brar using him to get to the books type thing. So,
and I think to Kurt's point, and to John's point also. So if it's, this is a quick hit, if you just want to do something to get, some play, but to the point of, if you want to make this a whole session, right? We could have did all the other stuff outside of talking to Mr. Bones, right? That 19 minutes or D10 plus 10 minutes, whatever, we could have bulked it out on either end before or after. So for players, if it is like John said, oh, someone's missing, couldn't show up for the game, let's just do this just to, do something. You could stretch it out into like a full, proper, big, long thing built around just that core of the D10 plus 10, because we could have done more backstory leading up to it and all that kind of stuff. And then, even do a wash up afterwards, the results of what that D10 plus 10 gave you. So I think it's good for either, a really compact, or you can stretch it out. And that's the,
oh, that's what, yeah. I was going to say, I see that you could even, playing the complete opposite of the stretching it out. You could have this be like a 20 to 30 minute thing.
Yeah.
Where you literally are like, okay, well, we have 3 adventures. These are your names. What you're doing isn't necessarily important. You're in it, and then you like fast forward.
Roll some dice.
You're
got
like you're in a
minutes,
dungeon. You narrate what's happening in the first minute, and you're like, your 3 adventures. You're in a dungeon. You come across a crypt. There's a skeleton. One of you's a necromancer. Cast the spell. Roll a d10. Let's hash out this time. This is what happens. And then like you literally from like beginning to end could be done in like 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could do this as a con game like that, set it up.
Right.
Party of 3, like, everything that Jesse just laid out. But you'd have to describe it in such a way that it is kind of improv-y and yes, Andy, and like, sort of open and free form, because you could get, someone to sit down at a table. You're like, oh, fuck, I don't know. Like, I don't know any of this, right? Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say.
Mm-hmm.
And you could say anything, right? Like we're creatively creating a world, right? Like if it's not part of an existing group, or, if you're inserting this as a vignette within your larger game structure, right? Like if you're doing D&D or Numenera or something, you're like, oh, this will be cool for this session. We'll just drop out of, whatever. And like, maybe the GM plays a skeleton or whatever, right? Even though it's GM-less, if you're dropping it into an existing campaign, right? Somebody's got to play a skeleton.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might be dicey to con, but if you had a good group of, role players, then, could be a fun experience for everybody.
But I guess this also, you said, like, from the con standpoint, maybe if you're a new group that's wants to play something, and you don't really know each other, or there's someone who joins and is like, well, I'm a bit iffy on the, I just like doing the dice thing because the dice tell me what to do and I don't have to think or, role play as much. This might be even like a good exercise of, you can do that, right? Because let's do this. You can think of stuff. You can be quick on your feet. You can come back with stuff, and almost like not like a tool, but almost like to get someone more revved up to do that, right? Oh, I just like to roll dice and the dice tell me what to do. But this then gets you in the mindset of, no, make some stuff up on the fly, different prompts to get them maybe more comfortable. As you said, for a con game, you're not going to set this up because people want to come do certain things. But this might be a con game where people are like, oh, shit, all the tables are full. Do you just want to sit down and have some fun doing something kind of thing, right? Because you don't need all that previous knowledge of each other. It's just, you don't need that, you need one dice, sit down and let's just do this to spend some time playing something.
Yeah.
Well, so not to make it complicated, even though it's not, but I only because I was thinking about like a con and like how that would, I could imagine, you don't have a GM. You don't have, because it's literally just a few people sitting around a table telling a story, right? So you set up a little table, right? And you have 4 cards, like little index cards around it, and you face them down. And the 4 people sit down and they flip over the card, and that card tells them whether or not they're an adventurer or they're the skeleton. Right? And then you could have like a deck of cards in the middle of the table that has like a random location. So like maybe you have 10 cards, right? And you shuffle the deck and you flip over the top card, and that's like that location is where you find the skeleton. And now, cool. And so like that's your game right there. So 4 people sit down at a table, they flip over cards, one of them the skeleton, you flip over another card, that's your location, you roll a d10, that's how much time you have to talk to the skeleton, and go.
Yeah, that's one of the things that it's funny that you said that, Jesse. That's one of the things I was kind of thinking about too. That would be kind of fun. You can even have like if somebody's like, I don't know what kind of character I have. You could have everybody write down a certain thing like barbarian or whatever, and then you shuffle them together and then throw them out. And then if somebody doesn't know, like I don't know what my character would be, you could write down personality traits, something to make it even a little more interactive. Another thing that I wrote on here on the game itself for alternate gameplay is for people that may be a little bit more into that kind of into the yes and that kind of thing, instead of being and like everybody, you still decide who's the adventurers and who's the skeleton, but instead of having each player describe themselves, you describe somebody else. So you'd be like, well, I think that you're this person, and I think that this skeleton, and then it's more of like an improv thing now where it's like, okay, well, now I know that this is what my character needs to be, so now I'm going to play them that way, that kind of thing. So it gives you options, and I really love when you guys keep talking about, okay, that you can play these in a small thing, you can play it in a bit, like that's what I wanted. I wanted it to fit in multiple areas, not just this is a game you just sit down and play for 20 minutes. This is a game you sit down and play for 3 hours. It's like it has that flexibility, and that's what I've always wanted, especially in the games that I'm going to be coming out with for this collection. So.
Nice.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because not that I didn't think that you did a good job, right? Because I obviously read through it, but like the real open ended. So like when we tried Fiasco, it was a fucking disaster. So I was like,
because none of us knew how to play, and the rules are not written well, and we thought it was a different game than what it actually is. And
but like as open ended as that, I was like, oh, I don't know. Like for me, right? I didn't know how well it was going to go, but we just, and again, we've played games together forever now, so like, I guess that's part of it. But like it was super smooth. For me, being, air quotes, concerned about coming in, I don't know, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, right? Or how, like, who is this character? Like, what's happening? But it fell right in, like, and it was as if we had been playing these characters almost. You know what I mean?
And I think the prompts you put in, right? So you want to make this, you want to make it short. You don't want to have a giant. I think those prompts really good. So these prompts for the skeleton, for location, for the players, I think having a few of those there really help, right? Because like Jesse said, oh, I just picked it up now. I just looked through it. He looked at it for a couple minutes, and he's like, boom, I'm ready to go. Having those prompts in there also help you, because you can read through those and say those are kind of good, or twist it and do something else, or this is the mindset of what the game's supposed to be. I think that's really good having those kind of prompts for the different there.
Yeah, even the preparedness of us coming into this, like I didn't know what to think. I didn't know if everyone would have like, more of like a little quick character sheet written down. It's not like character sheet, but some stuff written down.
Yeah.
Where I think we very much did the minimalistic way. It was like, this is my name. This is what I am.
What I look like.
Here we go. That kind of thing.
Nope.
Yeah, I literally sat down, like when I sent you guys the invite, like 15 minutes before, I went, fantasy name generator. Oh, I think I'm going to play a dwarf. It was like that.
Or like you said, if this was slotted into, an ongoing campaign where you're just like, let's just have a session where you go into a room and this is that, you're trying to bulk it out. Or it's just like, you could build those characters and backstories and stretch it out to make it longer, where it is like a full one shot kind of thing, not just a quick, let's sit down for, half an hour during lunch and play this. You could stretch it out into a full session. And I think, depending on if the people know, if the players know each other before, if they're new players, that's the kind of stuff. It's flexible enough to go either way with not having to add anything to the document that's already there, right? It's all there. It's just, your imagination, what you want to get out of it for that one time. Or it's like, oh shit, we're playing. We were going to do a full session, but you know what? I just got a call. I got to leave in a half an hour. Let's just do this, that real quick kind of thing, just to get that in.
Yeah, we could easily drop this in the world of Word, right? Like I can easily see us playing that in that setting.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say, and it's not even necessarily a critique, but more like a clarification thing. Now, as a lifetime GM, like I'm used to making NPCs and shit up on the fly. So like the situation changing and me being like, nope, never mind. That character's gone. This character is the new one isn't any different from what I do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But if I weren't that type of person, I think that some more discussion, if you're going to lock, even if it's like a soft lock, right? If you're going to do some like soft details on who the skeleton was and, all that kind of stuff, probably even just like a minute or so or a couple of minutes worth of conversation between everybody of just like how to ensure that idea actually is able to play out or like lead into that, I think would be really good. That way, if I did have the character, like the idea concept of Mr. Bones, and then I was like, that's what I need to play, and I don't know anything else, and I worked on this for a half hour, and like all of a sudden, like Kevin's like, we're going to a farm, and I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna do at a farm? Like,
so I almost wonder then if I put in there instead where I've got the thing like, where did you find the skeleton? Maybe I put as an aside, the skeleton decides where they're going to be found, because then you have that backstory,
right, yeah.
and you have that preparation to where now you don't have to do anything on the fly.
Put that section of where the skeleton is located and all that kind of stuff, where you have there's a dragon covered by snow, I think, was stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Have that right in the skeleton section. Mm-hmm. So they're the one that chooses. Yeah.
I mean, so I'd say is like the primary. I think it would probably be a little more helpful for like you said, the skeleton to come up with that. I could see, I actually really like the way that we did it, where it was like a very much like kind of on the fly, figuring out what we're doing and where we're going. So I could definitely see that as like an alternative style of where like you have no details ahead of time and you're literally just like prompt, and like, okay, this is what we got now. Mm-hmm. So, and like you're literally just like progressively figuring out like who the skeleton's going to be like in the first 10 minutes or so of gameplay, as like everybody else is figuring out where they're going and what they're doing and why they're there and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I guess the breakdown would be, running it where, like you would like a normal game, create some characters, give them some names, or have it like a full improv-y. Yeah. Give me shouting out from the audience, give me a location, give me a
right. Exactly. Yep.
Doing it that way. Those are the two, like going completely cold and just, that adventure says one thing, then the other one plays off of that, that kind of thing. So that might be the different ways to break it down. RPG people who want to create a character and give it a name and all that kind of stuff, or it's just whatever the first thing that comes to your head is the way we're playing it. So
because I mean, honestly, I could see this being very interesting for people like Todd, who are very like listening adept people. I could see him playing the skeleton and just like letting the three other people talk, and he's just like writing down ideas of like, this is where they want to go, this is what they want to do, this is what, and so like, and then like coming up as everybody is talking, coming up with the idea of who the skeleton is and what they are and all this kind of stuff. Like, so I think that would be like a really cool, like improv, like, role play challenge. So I could definitely see it being played both ways, whether or not you like just want to do it all on the fly, or if you want to go in with an idea of who the skeleton is ahead of time.
Well, like Kevin was saying with the questions, you could even, and you were talking about note cards earlier. So, like, another nod to Fiasco, you could, have, the generic questions for the adventurers, like, what do you look like? Who are you? Whatever. And just have them write it down on a note card, right? So it doesn't have to, it's not a huge backstory, whatever. It's like, I'm a dwarven fighter. This is my name. He's kind of dumb, whatever. And just jot down a couple of things that are being prompted by the questions. So just give you a feel for, what the character,
right.
And then you can just look at it, right? And it's only just a little thing, right?
Right, yeah.
Or like the tent, right? So the name is on the front, and then your little, couple of word description is on the back. So it's there to reference. You can see it.
Definitely.
But it went super good. I mean,
I think so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I liked it. Thank you for playing.
Yeah,
I really wanted one of you to open up the book.
Oh.
I thought we were going to get into a Deagle Smeagol situation where it was like the cuff, and then I put the cuff on and then jumped up on Lucky's back and started choking him. That's what I thought, because you had mentioned that he had like the copper cuffs and all the other stuff.
I forgot
so
about that.
Yeah, that was the past character.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Well,
Hey, you know what? If we want to play this again at some point, I'll play Mr. Bones again, and I'll do. Man, that other character would have been a blast.
We play the same character. Hey, how do we wind up at this fucking place again? There's another dead guy. Shit. All he does is take us to find dead guys.
Dead people taking up dead people.
If this is another book, I will shoot my own self.
Is he trying to send us a message?
Yes, I don't like reading. Don't try to make me change. I don't like it.
It's not
Education is fundamental.
Yes, that's right. The more you know.
Both of your families hired me to be your tutor, so we're just going out and finding adventures with books in it.
Just keep finding
that's the secret plot. Is that Durkeel and Lucky think that they've been hired by Brar to be his bodyguards, but in actuality, Brar has been hired by Durkeel and Lucky's families to be a tutor, but they can't know that they're being tutored.
Because then they won't want to do it.
Because then they won't want to do it. Yep.
Long-suffering tutor. Too funny. Are we wrapped? Is that it?
I think we've hit everything we can. I think
we have beat this horse to death.
We have, and I loved every minute of it.
Yes,
we beat this donkey to death.
Yeah, you beat me to it.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for suggesting this. It was definitely fun to run through, and we haven't seen Kevin in forever, so it was nice to see you again. You could check out the MFGcast. There's a link in the show notes. Kurt also has a itch.io page for MFGcast Entertainment, where presumably this will be up soon, so you can download this for free. You can also find WWA.
I'll probably have it done by the end of the week. Actually, I don't have very much to add, so hopefully soon.
Woo. Nice. We no longer have coffee for sale, I guess. But we do have a Patreon if you want to throw some money that way. Ratings and reviews on iTunes or whatever your podcatcher of choice is. Super helpful. You know the drill. Thanks for checking us out. We hope that you enjoyed this one as well, and that you'll check it out when Kurt gets it posted. And we'll catch you next time.
Peace.
Bye.